Blackpink mission. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled in the heart of a dense forest, lived a young girl named Sandra. She was a curious and adventurous girl who loved to explore the woods around her village. One day, Sandra's mother fell seriously ill. The herbalist who checked up her said, "Your mother suffers from a cancer. To make the medicine, I need Blackpink, a very rare herb. We can't plant them in our garden. There were some at the foot of the White Mountain, but it's a perilous journey to go there." However, Sandra determined to take the risk and find the herb for her mother's illness. Before she set out, she visited Malik's house, to tell his mother to take care of her mother until she returned. But Malik, who was as brave as Sandra, and the best friend of her, told her, "Let's do it together." Then Sandra asked, "Are you going to come with me?" So, Malik replied, "Of course, I am." Sandra and Malik packed some food, water, and a map of the forest and set out on their adventure. They walked for hours, crossing streams and climbing hills until they reached the White Mountain. But it was not as easy as they thought first. As the sun began to set, and it was getting dark, they wanted to find a place to spend the night. But where to find a house or hut in the dense forest, and they thought to spend the night on a branch of a tree. While they were looking for a shady tree with big branches, they stumbled upon a small cottage in the midst of the woods. Sandra knocked on the door, and an old woman answered. "Hello, children. What brings you to my cottage?" asked the old woman. "We are looking for a rare herb called Blackpink that can cure any cancer. My mother is sick, and I need to find it," replied Sandra. The old woman smiled and said, "I know where the herb is, but it is not easy to find. You must cross the river and climb the mountain to reach there. But be warned, the river is haunted with giant crocodiles, and also, the mountain is treacherous, and many have lost their lives trying to climb it. Anyway, we will look into that later. Now, let's have some supper and get some sleep. Come in." She invited them inside her cottage. They thanked her and sat on the bench near the door with a great relief. After that they feasted on the chapati the old woman offered them and went to sleep. At night Malik murmured to Sandra's ear and asked, "Is she a witch? Will she do something to us?" Then Sandra said, "No, I don't think so. She looked real, and also kind. Go to sleep." Because they were exhausted, they fell into a sound sleep until the old woman woke up them in the following morning. The old woman gave them some boiled yam for breakfast. Then she told them, showing a thing like a piece of stick, "Listen carefully. The first thing is, you can't reveal about me." And she continued after they promised, "Okay, I will give you this magic wand, otherwise it is impossible for you to find the herb or return home. When a beast tries to attack you, you can change it to a timid animal by saying that name and waving the wand towards them. Think that a tiger is trying to attack you. What you will say, she asked them. "Cat." Both of them said instantly. "Okay, now you understand it. The other thing is, you have to return the wand to me on your way back, and no tricks." They both promised to follow her rules, thanked the old woman for everything she did, and set out towards the mountain. On the way, as they expected, a tiger appeared suddenly behind a bush. Sandra quickly took the wand from her backpack and said, "Cat," while waving it towards the tiger. The tiger suddenly transformed into a wildcat and ran away from them. They both said, "Wow," looking at each other with amazement. "It worked," said Malik. "Yeah, it did," responded Sandra. "I told you she was a sorceress, didn't I?" Malik wanted to prove what he suggested previous night. "Yeah, I also thought, but a fair one," Sandra added. On their way towards the river, while they were crossing the marsh, they encountered an anaconda which they transformed to a water snake. And at the river bank there was a bunch of crocodiles and they transformed them into lizards. After that they found an old wooden bridge across the river. They walked on it one after the other, and reached the other bank. After walking about 100 meters, they came to the foot of the White Mountain. "As it named, it is really white color, isn't it?" said Sandra, looking up the steep mountain. "Yeah, I think it's made of like white granite," contributed Malik. "Yeah, it looks like that." "Okay, let's do it." Malik started to climb up, followed by Sandra. They stepped up very cautiously, keeping their feet right places and helping each other. They slipped several times but didn't fall. Also, they didn't encounter much treacherous creatures, except a few venomous snakes and an eagle, which they chased away without transforming to other creatures. After climbing half the way, they found the rare herbal plant, behind a rock. They both were very happy and cried, "Yes, we did it." After picking up a few leaves and flowers, they began their journey back home. On their way back, they came across two bandits who tried to steal the herbs from them. Sandra took the magic wand out of her bag and asked from Malik, "Tell me a small animal in human family." Malik also suddenly confused, but quickly recalled and cried, "Monkeys." Sandra instantly waved the wand saying monkeys, and the bandits transformed to monkeys. Chattering and grinning, they sat by the road. "Ho ho! That is the best punishment for them," said Malik and waved his hand to them. On their way back, they didn't forget to pay a visit to the old woman, who contributed greatly to succeed their mission. They returned her magic wand, and said goodbye to her, promising that they would visit her again. They finally reached home, and gave the flower to the herbalist to make the mixture for Sandra's mother. After a few days, her mother could talk and walk. Sandra was very happy about that. Her mother praised her brave daughter and her friend Malik for saving her life.